Hello, my little tiddlywinks, and welcome back to another episode of Prison Architect. We just left off before. We got our kitchen, our canteen done. We got a first little jail cell and a yard. Super simple prison. We have room for another grant, so let's get one. It's worth having as many as we can. We're going to get a prisoner here in 8 hours. But let's get prison maintenance. This is going to be a really big deal. We're definitely going to want that, because as you can see, things are starting to get dirty and gross, and your prisoner's health's going to go down. They're going to get really sick. It's not good. You don't want to have that. So we're going to actually have to unlock all of this stuff. So we unlock maintenance. We now have to unlock cleaning and stuff like that. So if we go into bureaucracy, you can see we got maintenance. Now we can actually get cleaning. That means we need a foreman. So you have to actually hire a guy. In the meantime, we're not going to worry about... Well, we're going to have to get groundskeeping as well for that grant, so we'll get that too. We're not going to worry about the prison labor just yet. So, this will be a big one that we need to get as soon as we can. So we're going to come over here. And we've got our other offices. Why not just continue this as our office building? So again, offices need to be the right size. They need to be 4x4s, so this will fit perfectly right here. Haha, it's like I planned it or something. Again, we're going to need to throw in staff door. That's not a staff door, that's a staff door. Although we could just use a normal door. Let's just normal door it. Not a big deal. Nobody really goes and bothers these guys, unless you get like a maximum security prison, but it's not going to be a big deal. All offices need to have that chair, they need to have a desk thrown in there, and they need to have some sort of filing cabinet. Throw it right there for them. There we go. I know these rooms are kind of boring for now, but we're still pretty poor in the whole grand scheme of things. 25 grand can go pretty quick. So let's boost our speed back up, get things going. They'll build that room for us, then we can call it an office, we can get our foreman, and he'll start working right away. A lot of the early points of this game are really just about saving as much money as you can, getting your cash inflow up, which we're going to work a little bit more on today, because we're going to need it. Hiring these people like the foreman are going to cost us money. That won't be a good thing in the long haul, because we'll start losing. It won't be a big deal early on, for the most part, because things aren't terribly expensive yet. But things like trying to make these things stronger with capacitors, each of those are $1,000. Then once we actually get into some of these programs, it'll get more and more expensive. So, we're going to need our foreman. He will happily get to work right there. He'll start researching for us. And in no time, we'll be able to actually get groundskeepers and cleaning staff to get this place cleaned up and looking nice. In the meantime, we're going to have a prisoner here in 5 hours. Won't be really a big deal when he's on his own for now, but what we're going to have to do is have a medical ward. These are really important because you need to be able to keep your prisoners healthy and alive if somebody attacks them. Now, as part of that, you're also going to need to have a psychologist, so you're going to have an office for him. You could put the office all the way over here, but that's not a good idea. You want to have your psychologist offices within the actual prison, because later on, some of the programs we'll be using will be needing to have access to the prisoners directly. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw an office in. So again, they need to be 1, 2, 3, 4 wide. And we'll just build that straight down. So we'll have a nice little office here for the psychologist. And we're going to want to just go with a normal door for this case, so that prisoners can go in and out freely. I don't think for the most part they can get anything really dangerous from an office. We'll have to check that later when we actually get security and intelligence and stuff. Or can we actually check? No, we can't yet. Logistics is really helpful. What you can see in here is like where food's going. Later on we're going to get laundry. Your room quality is really important. Like this guy right now has a room quality of 5. Isn't terrible, it's just kind of average. But you can see as you make the room bigger, like if it was 16 squares, you would get a higher rating. If you have an outdoor window, a desk, bookshelf, stuff like that, that rating goes up. Now prisoners are kind of ranked at how bad they're doing. If they're really bad, they're supposed to go in a really low graded room. If they're doing really good, they're supposed to go in a really high graded room. 5 is average. I think 10 is the maximum. So we won't be too worried about this for now. It's average. It'll deal with both of them. Not a big issue. With us, we have to keep watching that temperature. So things like this red, it's a nice 68 degrees. That's not a problem. Kitchen's a little bit cold, but in all honesty, once they actually start cooking things, this place heats up. Your electrical heats up quite a bit. That's not a big problem, I don't think. Your cells are kept nice and warm now. But you can see it's only for that room and a little bit out into the hallways. So that'll be something important to pay attention to. So, anyway, we've got this room now. We can call this an office. It's enough space. Good. Gotta throw in, just like every other one, you need to have that filing cabinet, the desk, and the chair. Now you can put these really anywhere. It doesn't matter. I try and make it look a little aesthetically pleasing. Now you can see something that did just happen. You saw all these staff doors close. That's because we now just got our first prisoner. He's going to show up way down here. We're going to move these eventually. But now that we have prisoners, we have to pay attention to that. So you can see here we have 1-on-1. I think they've actually brought him in somewhere. Sometimes it can be really hard to find people because they like to take weird paths. Like, yeah, there he is. Sometimes they like to use this outer edge because they can actually move a little bit faster there. So we got our first person. Super exciting, our first prisoner. I guess it's not a good thing that we have prisoners, but you can see here, they actually give you quite a bit of information about them. It's really neat. We can see this is Allison Wuyts. Prisoner number 19883, our first prisoner, she's 31. She's sentenced to 1 year for dangerous driving. Tisk tisk. It's like she did some other things, and she also searched to blackmail, driving under the influence. But she's got a boyfriend, daughters, father. Those are important later on because people are going to want to come and visit. So what you have to do is build visitation. We'll get there eventually. From here, you can change their security settings. You can throw them into protective custody, supermax, stuff like that. And you can order them to search individual prisoners, search their cell, search their block, or even punish them. You can look at other things like here, the character was ex-law enforcement. This can be really helpful at some points because this can actually make them targets, especially to things like gangs. So quite often what you might want to do for somebody like her is change her from minimum security to protective custody to protect her. Some other things like experience, this will show how much time they've spent in lockdown, their mood, conditions, stuff like that, things that they've done recently, and what reform programs they've gone through. So she's going to be out in no time. She's served 0.8 years out of 1, so she'll be getting out of here in no time. The grading's really nice. You're going to want to see, like here, the security is, 200% of the time she's locked up. That's a good thing. I suppose this is a good thing. She's, punished for what she's doing. Reform's at 0, which means she hasn't passed any programs yet. We'll get there with some of them. Some of them are really hard. The health is at 0. They haven't, well, she hasn't eaten here yet. She hasn't gotten to exercise, so she hasn't been able to boost up her health here. But so far, she doesn't seem to be addicted to anything, which is really helpful. So, Allison there, our first little prisoner. We're going to lock her up in here, and she's going to have to do her daily deals. Now, something to look at in your reports is your regime. Now, right now, it's a decent system. They're locked up quite a bit, and for what we have, that's about all we can really do. So, they wake up in the morning here. Everybody wakes up at the same time at 7 a.m., which is interesting. And then they take a shower. Now what's nice is they have the showers in their room. It's going to protect people overall. I think it's going to be a good thing. They have some lockup time. They're locked in there. Like right now, it's 10 o'clock. It's free time. She's allowed to do whatever she wants. The door's open, but there's nowhere for her to really go other than maybe the yard. After free time, they'll be locked up. I like to try and keep at least 2 hours for them to eat at any given point, because if you don't, sometimes some of the prisoners don't get enough time to actually eat. Give them some yard time, lock up, free time, lock up, eat, lock up, sleep. So every one of your prisoners will do this exact same thing every day. This is good for now. We're going to leave it at that because we don't have anything else running for them to actually go do or to actually work. So, there we go. As you can see, even though our prisoner's in there, we can't see. That's that fog of war setting we turned on. It adds another level to things. You can't see what they're doing in there right now. They could be digging a tunnel. She could be murdering somebody. Can't tell. We won't worry about that until later. We don't have the security systems. Now, I heard a bell. That means we have the cleaning or cleaner's ability now. So we can actually go into our staff and we can actually get janitors. And we can't just throw them into any old room because doors are locked. So you gotta start them outside. We're gonna get 2 for now, just because that's what we need for this grant. In no time here, we'll be able to get a gardener. Gardeners do the same thing that the janitors do. They clean up stuff, they mow the lawn. It's really helpful, but the janitors deal with cleaning inside, so they'll mop up all this nasty whatever that is. So there we go. So we also built this office. So what we need to also do is go ahead and get our psychologist. So he's going to go in, and you can see these doors. Normally, only the actual guards can open these doors. So prisoners can't get out. Your staff will need to be let in and out by these guards. So you can now see it's eating time. There's our prisoner. She just went in here. You can't see anything because there are no guards in there. If we send this guard over here, we'll actually be able to see the area around him. Again, he only has a limited distance that he can see. So we can see, there we go, we've got our prisoner. Now what we'll have to do is bite the bullet. We're going to have to get the head of security, because what we're going to need is that deployment ability. It's really important for us to have. So again, he needs to have an office. We're going to come over here. He doesn't have to be within the actual prison itself, so we're going to throw him in here. While they're at it, why don't we build a room around this guy? Again, we're going to have to throw him a door. Put a staff door on this just to be sure. It's not a big deal. Nobody's really going to get in there. Again, we're going to put that office desk in, filing cabinet, and a chair. Now you get a buttload of these little workers if you want to. They eat up quite a bit of money, so just watch out for that, because you're not always using them. Sometimes you're just sitting here doing nothing and waiting, so just be careful that you don't overdo yourself. See here, we need power to this room. It's not getting enough electricity distance, which is kind of surprising. We'll just throw that over there, that should fix our problem. Now that it's actually an office, we can go ahead and get our staff. We can put our chief in there. Again, they'll automatically take over. They'll always go for the first one built, so I tend to just go slowly at getting the offices prepared for people. Just because if we had built this office and this office over here for our psychologist, if we had built this one first, the psychologist would have gone here automatically. So now we have that chief. We're going to get him working on deployment. It's a really important one. It allows us to pick where people are going. So we're going to get that right away. So what we were doing... Oh, we can finish this one now. We've got our last point here. We just need to hire a gardener. They're not a necessary thing, but they do make the place look nice. So we're going to get at least just one for now, because he really doesn't have much to work with. You can see he's going to come in here and he's going to clean up some of this overgrowth. I think the flowers are kind of pretty, but the game counts them as bad, so we'll let the gardener do his thing. So we just completed that. We earned some money. Hooray! Now, let's finish off our medical ward. We need to get that done. It's going to be really important. So we're going to just make a small one for right now. It doesn't have to be big to begin with. Nothing really does. This is the kind of place that you can just throw in a normal door for this. We'll put it down here on the end. But what we'll have to do for this to work, for a medical ward, at some point you're going to need to have, and I thought this used to be a thing in there, was to have a morgue as part of that. Morgues are where they're going to put dead bodies if they do occur. We're hoping that not to happen. It's a good thing. You don't want that to occur. Otherwise your prison gets a bad rating. So we're going to try and make sure that we have a morgue in case it does happen, though. So let's see. Come on. Finish the room. There we go. So, what we'll have to do is go into rooms. And... did they take out the morgue? No, the morgue's still there. Okay. So the morgue doesn't have to be big. We're literally just going to make it that. And then we'll throw a wall in between and we'll make that our infirmary. So what we can do, we're going to put up a wall in between here. We'll put a staff door so that only staff can get in. Now we need to have a morgue slab in there. So we'll throw one there. We'll throw one there. That'll make that a happy morgue. Now the infirmary needs to have medical beds. Not too big of a surprise, really. We can fit one right there. We'll fit one right there. That'll be enough for now. We don't need 1,000,001 things. You can see we don't have power to this room yet, so we'll have to make sure that our electricity comes down here. Just throw it out from here. Run this all the way down. So we're going to have to power everything down this way, too. So once that infirmary's done, we'll be good. That medical ward will finish. We need to have some doctors. So we'll throw 2 doctors out. Perfect. So yeah, there you go. We now have, in a minute, a functioning infirmary, a functioning morgue, psychologist. That's gonna finish. Hooray. So we'll be able to pick up some new stuff. You can see as we complete them, we gain more. Now, one that we're probably going to want to do is the cell block A. Oh, there we go. We completed the infirmary one. That's all good. Now, we've got 1 prisoner. We're going to want more, because you can see we're starting to lose money every day now. That's not a good thing. So we're going to have to start adding more. But we're going to do that in the next episode. We're going to add a whole bunch of these little cells. They're going to be perfect copies of each other, because 5 is a good grade for now. Later on, we'll diversify. We'll start getting some that are, 10. We'll start trying to get some really crappy ones that are only at 1, maybe, so that prisoners can be, punished for doing bad, but rewarded for doing good. Anyway, that'll be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Stay in trouble.